That. Okay. Should I look at you or camera? Hello, Africa. I'm Asamoah Gyan. You think it's easy?
Very easy.
I'm locally based and I'm taking care of business. I was injured for like a year and a half ago, so I feel like my body's a bit tired, so I just need to go off the field for a while and then make sure I get back to my normal self, and then I start training. Well, I like watching tennis and sometimes some of the live boxing matches, and sometimes the Premier League, English Premier League, of course. Sometimes I just relax and then watch the local comedy. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. The people were cool. I saw the crew. Everybody was relaxed at the beach side, and of course I met the local fans over there, who didn't give me briefing space at all, but I had to just contain them because, they are the people who made me, so when I see them, sometimes they overreact though, but, I just have to make sure I control the crowd, which was more interesting. Later my friends came to join, playing cards on the beach. I really enjoyed myself, and everything was successful. The crew was good, everybody was great. I really enjoyed myself. In life you start from somewhere, so when I saw them, I remember my humble beginnings. That particular place, I used to play there. I used to come from many kilometers away and then go to that place to play. So when I got there, I just cast my mind back, when we used to play on that pitch. I was in their shoes because during my time when I was little, we do see icons, and sometimes we just want to touch their body just to feel whether they are real, and I also saw the same thing there, so when I saw them, I was like, yeah, that's life. And then there might be one Asamoah Gyan even coming from there, so you might never know. My brother used to take me everywhere he goes, to play. He used to inspire me. He is my inspiration, my older brother, Asamoah Gyan, Wherever he's going to play, he takes me along. And then he gets a stone, and then he says, hey, sit down there, watch. I remember when my name started popping up, people started hearing Asamoah Gyan. They didn't know the little boy that my brother was bringing there. So when they saw me and my brother, they do ask my brother, was he the young one you bring on the field a couple of years? I said, yeah, that's him. So after a couple of years, I was playing with him in the national team. So life. Yeah, I remember I was in the local first division, Zetuna FC. We had one of the qualified games to the Premier League. And I think the assistant coach was Coach Parr. He came there to watch, and then I scored an amazing goal, with a header. And that was when I was invited first to the national team. That was 2003 Premier League, and I scored against Accra, one of the biggest clubs in Ghana. And we drew 1-1 in that game, so from there, everybody started saying they should call me to the national team. Some people objected because I was young, I was 17 at that time. So when I was invited, the first game against Somalia, we won 5-0. I came on and I also scored, so I scored in my debut. I was 20 years, I was young, inexperienced, but with the national team, I would say I was a big experience with the national team because I had played the national team for 3 years. So going to Germany, I counted myself lucky, and I said to myself, I've made history because I'm one of the players who played the first World Cup for Ghana. So going there was no pressure, but when we landed in Germany, that was when I started feeling the pressure. I was like, wow, you are there. And even the first game against Italy, we entered the field and the whole stadium was blue, with the Italian supporters and everything. I was like, what I was playing was in football. Now, this is called football, so yeah, the pressure and everything and anxiety, everything was on my mind. And I played quite well, but I faced one of the best defenders in the world at that time, Cannavaro and Nesta. I remember I granted an interview after the game. They asked me, who is the strongest defender I've ever played with? And I said Cannavaro. Because I'm a total package. I'm a total package. I know myself. I'm naturally gifted, so when I see a defender like that, I can see the strong one. So I said it was Cannavaro. And that same year, he won the Ballon d'Or. So everybody understood what I was talking about. Our first game, Italy taught us a lesson. Although we played quite well, but you could see they beat us with experience. So when we went back to the hotel, me and my brother, I remember, was in the room, and I told him, I can feel I'm going to score in the next game because I know how the World Cup is now. And then he was like, really? So should I call Ghana and tell them? I said, yeah, tell them. I didn't know the goal would come that early. It was 1 minute, 8 seconds. The fastest goal in 2006 World Cup. I didn't know it's going to come that early, but I did predict it. I predicted a goal. I knew I was going to score because I felt it. 2010 was my best year. I started in January from Angola, African Cup. I went back to my club, scoring goals. I was fit, so going to the World Cup, I was more confident. I was the most confident player in the world. I felt very, very, very good. Everything was working. Even I came to music was working. Everything was working for me in 2010. So going there, I was confident. I knew I was going to deliver. So when their first game against Serbia, I scored through a penalty. The team played very, very well. We played against Australia 1-1. I scored through a penalty again. The team played so well again. And then we lost against Germany in the third game. So we were lucky, so we went through with a goal. And then we played against USA. I remember the game against USA, I was even sick. I was down with malaria. The doctor said they thought I wasn't going to play the game. So I was vomiting in the dressing room. So they gave me a couple of medication and everything. So I had to just be myself. But I went there, everything changed. So obviously, yeah, I scored the winning goal during extra time. Till the game against Uruguay. That historic penalty miss that everybody have been talking about. I think 2010 World Cup was the best World Cup for me. And it's the most organized World Cup. Everything was fun, because it was in Africa for the first time. People wanted to see what Africans can do. People had to fly all over the world to come to Africa. It brought people together. Organization was excellent. You could see the real culture. Everything was amazing. And the Vuvuzelas became a bit of controversy. Some players didn't like it. But for me, it was the greatest World Cup I've ever seen. People have been talking it every time. They've been talking about it every time. They see Suarez or they hear something about Uruguay. I remember when the draw came out, when the same group with Uruguay, and people started talking about it. So I don't think they've forgiven him. But me personally, I'm in the game, so I understand the game. If I was him, I would have done the same thing to save my country. He's a hero there. Although it was a cheat, by the end of the day, they were able to go through. So if I was Suarez, I would have done the same thing. He did what he had to do to make sure his team qualified. So the fans are fans. They have their own opinion. They watch TV. The emotions and everything. When you are watching football, there are a lot of emotions. So I also do understand the fans, where they're coming from. But we in the game do understand how the game goes. So I'm sure Ghanaians haven't forgiven him. They've never forgiven him. So life goes on. We have to make sure we plan ahead. I think that is our problem. There are some countries that plan years ahead. Like maybe 10 years we have to win the World Cup. So it's a plan that people take it. That's what I'm saying. It's a process. I'm sure an African country will win it one day, but I don't know when. It might be in Qatar. It might be any World Cup year. So as an African, that is my prayer. I want an African country to also win it. So that is what every African is hoping for. So we see. It depends how the team approaches the tournament. So I remember Ghana in 2006. Czech Republic was number 3 in the world. United States was number 5 in the world. And then Germany, and then Italy. So we were, of course, the underdogs. Everybody thought we were going home, but we were able to go through to the next stage of the competition. So that is why I'm saying when you go to a tournament, it's how you approach the tournament. It doesn't matter the kind of players you are. Definitely, statistically, we have the favorites. We have favorites in the tournament, but we have to just go there and then see what happens. The players I saw, I think Ronaldo, the Brazilian, is my greatest player of all time. I don't think anybody comes close because he was special. He was special. My best African player of all time is George Weah, the president of Liberia now. He was an amazing striker. The only African player to win the Ballon d'Or. I saw him growing up. Amazing striker. He was amazing. I have to say what people saw. Okay, my best goal is against England. It was a solo effort. In the last stages of the game, and I scored. It was a great goal. I did it officially in 2010, Angola. Although in CAN 2008, when Ghana hosted, I scored through a penalty, and then we did some funny celebration together. But the dancing thing started in 2010 in the semi-final against Nigeria. That was the only goal of the game. I scored and I danced. And after the game, my friends called me and said, "Oh, you have to do more when you do." And people came to love it. So it was like a positive energy. So anytime Ghana is going to play, somebody will want to see only the celebration. So the person had to pray for you. So that energy, it works. It works sometimes. So everybody wants to see me dancing. So although football is an emotional thing sometimes, but I do try to entertain people when I score, so that maybe after the game they go home and have something to talk about, not only emotional things. You just have to enjoy yourself. So when I score, I try to make people happy by doing some funny things, for people to just enjoy. Enjoy your World Cup.